It was a day the world would never forget, a day that shook hearts, tested loyalty, and left behind a trail of sorrow. Captain Ibrahim Traoré, a man who carried the weight of a nation on his shoulders, faced one of the most dramatic and heartbreaking moments of his life. The sun rose quietly, but the air carried a heaviness no one could explain. It was not an ordinary morning for Captain Ibrahim Traoré. His steps felt heavier than usual as he walked out. A strange silence followed him, as if the world itself knew something tragic was about to unfold. People around him greeted him with respect, yet their faces carried worry. Whispers ran through the crowd, spreading like fire. News of a tragic incident had begun to reach him. He stopped for a moment, listening carefully. His heart began to race. A soldier approached, saluting sharply but with trembling hands. "Captain, we have terrible news," the soldier said. Traoré's eyes narrowed, his chest tightening. He had faced battles, bullets, and betrayal. But this was different. The soldier struggled to speak. Finally, the words came out like knives cutting the air. "A devastating attack has struck our people." Ibrahim froze. The silence around him deepened. Every second felt like a lifetime. He took a deep breath, bracing for more details. "Innocent lives were lost, Captain. Families torn apart." His hands clenched into fists. He turned his face away, hiding the storm of emotions within him. "Where?" he asked, his voice trembling yet firm. The soldier lowered his eyes. "In the heart of our land." Ibrahim's heart sank. His people, his very reason for fighting, were suffering again. He had promised to protect them, to shield them from pain. But fate had delivered another cruel blow. Slowly, he walked toward the site of the tragedy. His convoy followed, but he felt completely alone. Each passing street was lined with people crying. Mothers wept in the arms of their children. Men stood in silence, holding back tears. Ibrahim lowered his head as he passed them. They looked at him not just as a leader, but as their last hope. His duty was more than political. It was personal. He arrived at the scene. The destruction was unbearable to witness. Smoke still rose from the ruins. Broken pieces of homes lay scattered across the ground. Lifeless bodies were covered with cloths. Survivors sat in shock, unable to speak. The cries of children pierced the air. Ibrahim felt his chest ache. His vision blurred with tears he refused to shed in public. He knelt beside a grieving mother. She clutched the lifeless body of her son. Her tears fell onto his small face. "Why, Captain? Why us again?" she cried. Ibrahim's lips trembled. He placed his hand gently on her shoulder. "I swear to you, this will not be in vain." His voice cracked, but his words carried power. He stood, looking at the destruction again. His soldiers waited for his command. But for a moment, he was not a commander. He was a man mourning with his people. His heart broke with every cry. He remembered the dreams of freedom he carried for his nation. And now those dreams seemed soaked in blood. But in that pain, a fire was lit within him. He clenched his fist. "We cannot let this tragedy silence us," he declared. His soldiers straightened. The survivors lifted their eyes toward him. His voice grew stronger. "Every life lost today will live forever in our fight for justice." The crowd listened in silence. Some wiped their tears, holding on to his words. He pointed toward the horizon. "They want us broken, but we will rise." His voice carried over the ruins. "Our tears today will become our strength tomorrow." The crowd murmured, finding hope in his resolve. Children looked at him with wide eyes. Mothers clung to his words as if they were medicine. He felt the weight of their trust. He could not fail them. Ibrahim turned to his generals. "We will find those responsible." His tone was sharp, unshakable. The generals nodded firmly. But behind the strong orders was a man fighting his own grief. He stepped aside for a moment. Alone, he allowed one tear to fall, a tear not of weakness but of love for his people. He whispered to himself, "This is my duty, until my last breath." The day dragged on with endless sorrow. Funerals began. Songs of mourning echoed through the land. The flag was lowered in silence. Ibrahim walked at the front, carrying the pain of his people. He refused to ride in a car. He walked beside the coffins. Step after step, he honored the fallen. The people walked with him, thousands strong. It was no longer just grief. It was unity. That day, sorrow turned into strength, and Ibrahim knew deep inside that this tragedy would not break them. He promised justice, he promised protection, and most of all, he promised that no soul lost would be forgotten. The night came, but no one slept. The stars above seemed dim. Ibrahim sat alone in his office. Maps and reports lay scattered before him, but his mind was elsewhere. He thought of the children he saw crying. He thought of the mother holding her lifeless son. He thought of his promise, and he swore silently, "I will not rest." The next day, he stood before his nation. Cameras captured his face, solemn yet powerful. His words carried the weight of truth. "We lost brothers, sisters, children." The crowd lowered their heads. But we did not lose hope. His voice shook the hearts of millions. "Our land will not bow to fear." The people erupted in support, for in their captain they saw more than a leader. They saw a father, a brother, a protector. Ibrahim knew his journey would only grow harder, but he embraced it. Because this day, the most unforgettable, dramatic, and sad day, had carved into him an unshakable mission. A mission to defend his land with every breath, and to honor every soul lost along the way. His heart was heavy, but his resolve was iron. He walked forward into the unknown. Behind him, the people followed, and in their eyes, tears had turned into fire. That day was written in history, not just as a tragedy, but as the day Ibrahim Traoré's spirit rose higher than ever before. His pain became the people's strength. His tears became their battle cry. His sorrow became their unity, and his vow became their future. Ibrahim stood on the ashes of loss, but he saw not defeat, he saw destiny. And with each passing hour, his determination grew stronger. He called upon his people to stand together. They answered with one voice, a nation reborn from grief, a leader forged in fire. The world would watch, and history would remember. That unforgettable day, that dramatic day, that heartbreaking day, the day that shaped the future of his people, and the day that tested the heart of Captain Ibrahim Traoré. The sun set on sorrow, but it rose on resolve. Across the land, prayers were whispered. Children lit candles in remembrance. Families held each other tighter. Soldiers sharpened their blades with purpose. And Ibrahim prepared for the battles ahead. He knew pain would visit again, but he also knew unity was stronger. His eyes no longer carried just grief. They carried fire. He looked at the horizon one last time that night. "For them," he whispered, "for all of them." His soldiers saluted, his people cheered, and his enemies trembled, for they realized out of sadness a storm had risen, and that storm was Captain Ibrahim Traoré. He walked into the night, unafraid. His footsteps echoed with destiny. The world would remember this day, not just for the tragedy, but for the strength it gave birth to, for the courage it awakened, and for the leader it tested. Ibrahim carried the memory of every lost soul. He carried their voices in his heart, and with each breath he carried their dreams. His sadness was deep, but his spirit was unbreakable. That day became his greatest lesson. That pain became his greatest weapon, and that sorrow became his greatest strength. He would never forget. His people would never forget. The land itself would never forget. That unforgettable, dramatic, and sad day, when tears filled the earth, when hope nearly faded. But when a leader rose, stronger than ever, fiercer than ever, more determined than ever, Captain Ibrahim Traoré stood unshaken, and the world would never forget that day.